the adventure steeples, drown the pout in the adventure steeples, drown the spout in the adventure steeples.
Good evening. Welcome everybody to the showcase of King Lear. I'm Ana Valdes Lim, and this is Theater Space. It's nice to have all of you here. Theater Space is theater online, which started during the pandemic, and we are volunteers. We meet twice a week to do a play, and we do the play live in front of an audience, not live stream. We don't clean it up. So if we have mistakes, if our Wi-Fi lags or we somehow have a device problem, you will see it and we will experience it with you. That gives us the feeling of live theater while we're in isolation during the pandemic. Theater Space came about because we were in isolation and lockdown, and I was training actors for auditions or different things. And I said, well, why don't we just invite an audience to watch the rehearsal? And that's how it started. Tonight's show is King Lear, one of my favorite plays, and it's a difficult play because of the big epic topic that it holds. We're doing scenes from it, so it won't be the full story, but it's still enough for the actors to bite and chew on and to have a learning experience. Actors need you, our audience, to complete the circle of their storytelling because they don't really know how well their method or their technique or their process is working unless you were here to complete it. So thank you for being here. Again, I said we're volunteers, so I'm going to start by introducing some of our special volunteers today. I call on Ches Cuenca, Denley Chavez, and Ana Yap. Hey, how about introducing yourselves and telling them what you do?
Hi, I'm Chaz. I'm the stage manager for this show, 7 p.m. of King Lear.
And what did you play earlier?
And I played Goneril in the 3 p.m. show.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, Danley, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Danley.
And I'm Anna.
And we will be taking your questions for today. If you have any questions for the director or the actors, feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box at any time.
We are so proud to be presenting you this wonderful story written during a time of a plague, now once again in spite of the pandemic. A true testament to the human desire and prerogative to connect with one another.
And speaking of connection, we encourage everyone to use the chat box kindly and generously, as it is a way for the actors to connect with the audience.
That said, let me just, do you have more to say? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
you can see how they're talking more formal than I am. Go ahead, Chet.
And today we show the heavens more just and welcome you to this great stage of fools.
Good.
Yes.
Now, before we segue to the start of the show, I just want to let the audience know that Denley is from
Bacolod City.
Yes. We haven't had a face-to-face experience yet, but Denley's been in several productions of Theater Space and a wonderful actress. And Ana Yap also is a wonderful actress, and she does a lot of our publicity, correct?
Oh, yes.
She has a great energy. So I just want you to know the people behind the scenes and get to know them more from the heart rather than the words. But we're going to have a lot of words and good words today. So we practiced a lot. I hope you enjoy the show. Shall we?
I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall.
It did always seem so to us, but now in the division of the kingdom it appears not which of the dukes he values most.
Is not this your son, my lord?
His breeding, sir, has been at my charge. I have so often blushed to acknowledge it. Now that I embrace to it.
I cannot conceive you.
Sir, this young mother's fellow could, whereupon she grew round-wombed, and indeed, sir, a son for her cradle, and a husband for her bed. Do you smell a fault?
I cannot wish the fault undone, the issue of it being so proper.
But I have, sir, a son, by order of law, some year elder than this, who is yet no dearer in my account. Though this knave came something so saucily into the world he was sent for, yet his mother fair, there was good sport in his making. And the whoreson must be acknowledged. Do you know this noble gentleman, Edmund?
No, my lord.
My lord of Kent, my noble friend.
Your lordship.
I must love you and sue to know you better.
Sir, I shall study deserving.
He hath been out 9 years, and away he shall again. The king is coming.
Attend the Lords of France and Burgundy, Gloucester.
We shall, my lord.
Give it a map there. Know that we have divided in 3 our kingdom. It is our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths, while we unburdened crawl toward death. A son of Cornwall, and you are the stubborn son of Albany, we have it as our constant will to publish and dot to several dowers, that future strife may be prevented now. The 2 great princes, France and Burgundy, great rivals in a youngest daughter's love, long in our court have been the amorous surgeon, and here are to be answered. Tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interests of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most? That real largest bounty makes stand where nature doth in merry challenge. Gonril, our eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I love you more than word can wield the matter, dearer than eyesight, space, and liberty, beyond what can be valued rich or rare, no less than life, with grace, health, beauty, honor, as much as child e'er loved or father found, a love that makes breath poor and speech unable. Beyond manner of so much, I love you.
What shall Cordelia speak? Love and be silent.
Of all his bounds, even from this line to this, with shadowy forests and champaigns riched, with plenteous rivers and wide-skirted meads, we make thee lady. To thine and Albany's issue it is perpetual. What says a second daughter, a Divis Regan, wife of Cornwall? Speak.
I am made of that self-metal lass my sister, and prize me at her worth. In my true heart I find she names my very deed of love. Only she comes too short. That I profess myself an enemy to all other joys which the most precious square of sense possesses, and find I am alone felicitate in your dear highness' love.
Then poor Cordelia, and yet not so, since I am sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue.
Thee and thine, hereditary ever, remained as apple third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and pleasure than that conferred in Gonril. Now, our joy, although alas and least, to his young love the vines of France and the milk of Burgundy strive to be interest. What can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak.
Nothing, my lord.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing will come of nothing. Speak again.
Unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, no more, no less.
How, Cordelia, mend your speech a little, that you may mar your fortunes.
Good my lord, you have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back as a right fit. Obey you, love you, and most honor you. Why have my sisters husbands if they say they love you all? Haply when I shall wed, that lord whose hand must carry my flight shall carry half my love with him, half my care and duty. Sure I shall never marry like my sisters, to love my father all.
But goes thy heart with this?
Aye, my lord.
So young and so tender.
So young, my lord, and true.
Let it be so. Thy truth then be thy dower. For by the sacred radiance of the sun, the mysteries of Hecate in the night, by all the operation of the orbs for to exist and cease to be, here I disclaim all by paternal care, propinquity, and property of blood, and as a stranger to my heart and behold thee from this forever. The barbarous Scythian, or he that makes his generation nessus to gorge his appetite, shall to my bosom be as well neighboured, pitied, and relieved as thou, my sometime daughter.
Good, my liege, you...
Peace, Cantor! Come not between the dragon and his wrath. I loved her most and thought to set my rest in a kind nursery. Hence and avoid my sight. So be my grave, my peace as ere I gave my father's heart from her. Call France, the Sirs, come Burgundy. Cornwall and Albany, with but 2 daughters' dowers digested her. Let pride, which she calls plainness, marry her. I do invest you jointly with my power, preeminent in all the large effects that troop with majesty. Ourself by monthly course, with reservation of 100 knights, by you to be sustained, shall our abode make with you by due term. Only we shall retain the name, in all the addition to a king. The sway, revenue, execution of the rest, beloved sons, be yours, which to confirm this coronet part between you.
Royally, whom I have ever honored as my king, loved as my father, as my master followed, as my great patron, thought on in my prayers. This is...
The bow is spent and drawn. Make from the shaft.
Let it fall, rather, though the fork convey the region of my heart. Be cant unmannerly when Lear is mad. What wouldst thou do, old man? Think'st thou that duty shall have dread to speak when power to flattery bows? To plainness honour's bound when majesty falls to folly? Reserve thy state, and in thy best consideration, check this hideous rashness. Answer my life, my judgment. Thy youngest daughter does not love thee least, nor are those empty-hearted whose low sounds reverb no hollowness.
Enter thy life no more.
My life I never held but as a pawn to wage against thine enemies, nor fear to lose it, thy safety being motive.
Out of my sight!
See better, Lear, and let me still remain the true blank of thine eye.
Now, by Apollo!
Now, by Apollo, king, thou swearest thy gods in vain.
Vassal miscreant!
Kill thy physician, and thy fee bestow upon the foul disease. Revoke thy gift, or whilst I can vent clamour from my throat, I'll tell thee thou dost evil.
Hear me, recreant, on thine allegiance, hear me! That thou hast sought to make us break our vows, we do just never yet, and with strained pride to come betwixt a sentence and a power, which nor our nature, nor our place can bear, our potency made good, take thy reward. 5 days we do allot thee for provision, to shield thee from disasters of the world, and on the 6th, to turn thy hated back upon a kingdom. If on the 10th day following thy banished rock be found in our dominions, the moment is thy death. Away! By Jupiter, this shall not be revoked!
Fare thee well, king. Sith as thou wilt appear, freedom lives hence, and banishment is here. The gods to their dear shelter take thee, maid, that justly think'st, and hast most rightly said. And your large speeches may your deeds approve, that good effects may spring from words of love. Thus Kent, O princess, bids you all adieu, who shape his old course in a country new.
Here France and Burgundy, my noble lord.
My lord of Burgundy, we first trust towards thee, who it is king, hath rivaled for a daughter. What in the least will you require in present dower of her, or cease your quest of love?
Royal Majesty, I crave no more than hath your highness offered, nor will you tender less.
Right, noble Burgundy. When she was dear to us, we did hold her so. But now her price is fallen. Sir, there she stands. If aught within that little seeming substance, or all of it, without displeasure, peace, and nothing more, may fitly like your grace, she's there, and she's yours.
I know no answer.
Will you, with this infirmity she owes, unfriended, you adopted to her hate, dowered with a cursed stranger by her oath, take her or leave her?
Pardon me, royal sir, election makes not up in such conditions.
Then leave her, sir, for by the power that made me, I tell you all her wealth. For you, great king, I would not from your love make such a stray to match you where I hate. Therefore, beseech you, to avert your liking of a worthier way than on a wretch whom nature is ashamed almost to acknowledge hers.
This is most strange, that she whom even but now was your best object, the argument of your praise, the balm of your age, the best, the dearest, should in this trite of time commit a thing so monstrous, to dismantle so many folds of favor. Sure, her offense must be of such a natural degree that monsters it, or your vowed perfection fallen to taint, which to believe of her must be a faith that reason without miracles should never plant in me.
I yet beseech your majesty, for I want that glib and oily art to speak and purpose not, since what I well intend I'll do before I speak, that you make known. It is no vicious blot, murder, or foulness, no unchaste action or dishonest step that hath deprived me of your grace and favour. But even for want of that for which I am richer, a still soliciting eye, and such a tongue as I am glad I have not, though not to have it hath lost me in your liking.
Better thou hast not been born to not have pleased me better.
Is it but this? A tardiness in nature which often leaves a history unspoke that it intends to do? My lord of Burgundy, what say you to the lady? Love's not love if this mingled with regard that stands aloof over the entire point. Will you have her? She is herself a dowry.
Royal king, give but that portion which yourself proposed. And here I take Cordelia by the hand, Duchess of Burgundy.
Nothing. I am sworn, I am firm.
I am sorry then, you have so lost a father, that you must lose a husband.
Peace be with Burgundy. Since that respects and riches are his love, I shall not be his wife.
Fairest Cordelia, that art most rich being poor, most choice forsaken, and most loved despised. Thee and thy virtues here I seize upon, be it lawful I take up what's cast away. Gods constrained it from their cold neglect. My love should kindle to inflamed respect. Thy doubtless daughter, king, thrown to my chance, is queen of us, of art and our fair France. Not all the dukes of watery Burgundy can buy this unprized, precious maiden. Bid them farewell, Cordelia, though unkind. Thou losest here, but where to find?
Thou hast her, France, let her be thine. For we have no such daughter, nor shall ever see that face of hers again. Therefore, begone, without her grace, a love, a benison. Come, noble Burgundy.
Bid farewell to your sisters.
The jewels of our father. With washed eyes, Cordelia leaves you. I know you what you are, and like a sister, I'm most loath to call your faults as they are named. Love well our father. To your professed bosoms I commit him, but yet alas, to die within his grace, I would prefer him to a better place. So farewell to you both.
Prescribe not us our duty.
Let your study be to content your lord who hath received you in fortune's arms. You have obedience scanted, and are well worth the want that you have wanted.
Time shall unfold what plighted cunning hides, who covers faults at last with shame derides. Well may you prosper.
Come, my fair Cordelia.
Sister, it is not little I have to say of what most nearly appertains to us both. I think our father will hence tonight.
That's most certain, and with you. Next month with us.
You see how full of changes his age is. The observation we have made of it hath not been little. He always loved our sister most, and with what poor judgment he hath now cast her off appears too grossly.
'Tis the infirmity of this age, yet he hath ever but slenderly known himself.
The best and soundest of his time hath been but rash. Then must we look from his age to receive not alone the imperfections of long engraft condition, but therewith all the unruly waywardness that infirm and choleric years bring with them.
Such inconstant starts are we like to have from him as this of Kent's banishment.
There is further compliment of leave-taking between France and him. Pray you, let us sit together. If our father carry authority with such disposition as he bears, this last surrender of his will but offend us.
We shall further think of it.
We must do something. And in the heat.
Thou, nature, art my goddess. To thy laws my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me? For that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lag of a brother. Why, bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue. Why brand they us with base? Baseness? Dastardly base? Base? Who in the lusty stealth of nature take more fierce composition than doth got between a dull, stale, tired bed and got between sleep and wake and the whole creating a tribe of fops? Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund as to the legitimate. It's a fine word, that, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, should this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. God stand up for bastards. My lord.
What paper were you reading?
Nothing, my lord.
No.
Yeah.
What, other than that terrible dispatch of it into your pocket? Give me that letter, sir.
I shall offend either to detain or give it. The contents are in part, as I understand them, to blame.
Let's see. Conspiracy. Sleep till I wake him. Should enjoy half his revenue. My son Edgar. Had he a hand to write this? Heart and brain to read it in? When came you to this? Who brought it?
That's the cleverness of it, my lord. It was not brought to me. I found it thrown in the casement of my closet.
Oh, villain. His very opinion in this letter, abhorred villain. Unnatural, detested, brutish villain, worse than brutish. Sir, seek him. I'll apprehend him. Abominable villain.
If your honor judge it meet, I will place you where you shall hear us confer of this. I will seek him, sir, presently. Convey the business as I shall find means, and acquaint you with all.
These late eclipses for the sun and the moon portend no good to us.
Why?
Though this wisdom of nature can reason it thus and thus. Love cools. Friendship falls off. Brothers divide. In cities, mutinies. In countries, discord. In palaces, treason. And the bonds crack twixt son and father. This villain of mine comes under my protection. There's son against father. The king falls off from bias, from nature. There's father against child. We have seen the best of our times, machinations, hollowness, treachery, and all the ruinous disorders follow us quietly into our graves. Find out this villain, Edmund. Shall lose thee nothing, but do it carefully. And the noble and true-hearted can banish this offense honesty. It's just strange.
This is the excellent foppery of the world. When we are sick in fortune, and often the surefits of our own behavior, mind, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon, the stars, as if we were villains on necessity, fools by some heavenly compulsion, knaves, liars, thieves, and drunkards by some heavenly thrusting on, and adulterers by some enforced planetary obedience. An admirable evasion of Hornmaster Man, to lay his goatish disposition on the charge of a star. Let's see. My father compounded with my mother under the dragon's tail, and my nativity was under Ursa Major. So that it follows that I am rough and lecherous. But I should have been all that I am had the maidenliest star in the firmament twinkled under my bastardizing, and that Edgar... Pat, here he comes, like villain of old comedy. My cue is villainous melancholy with a sigh like Tom o' Bedlam. Oh, eclipses do portend these divisions, eh?
How now, Brother Edmund? What serious contemplation are you in?
I am thinking, brother, of a prediction I read this other day. What should follow these eclipses?
Do you busy yourself with that?
I promise you, the effects he writes of succeed unhappily, as of unnaturalness between the child and the parent, death, dissolutions of ancient amities, divisions in state, menaces and maledictions against king and nobles, needless diffidences, banishment of friends, dissipation of cohorts, nuptial breaches, and I know not what, brother.
How long have you been a sectary astronomical?
Come. When saw you my father last?
The night gone by.
Spake you with him?
Aye, 2 hours together.
Found you... parted you in good terms, eh? Found you no displeasure in him by word nor his countenance?
No, none at all.
Bethink yourself, brother, wherein you may have offended him, and at my entreaty forbear his presence until some little time have qualified that the heat of his displeasure, which at this instant so rageth in him. And as I say, with the mischief of your person, it would scarcely ally, brother.
Some villain hath done me wrong.
That's my fear. I pray you have a continent forbearance until the speed of his rage does go slower. And, as I say, retire with me to my lodging, from whence I will fitly bring you to hear my lord speak. I pray you, go. There's my key, brother. Take it. If you do stir abroad, brother, go armed.
Armed, brother?
Brother, I advise you to the best. I am no honest man, if there be any good meaning towards you. I have told you all that I have seen and heard, but faintly nothing like the absolute image and horrors of it. I pray you now, away.
Shall I hear from you anon?
I do so serve you in this business, brother. A credulous father and a brother noble, whose nature is so far from doing harms that my practices ride easy. Oh, I know the business. Let me, if not by wit or blood, have my lands by charm and wit. All's with me's meat that I can fashion fit.
Did my father strike my gentleman for chiding of his fool?
Aye, madam.
By day and night he wrongs me. Every hour he flashes into one gross crime or other that sets us all at odds. I'll not endure it. His nights grow riotous and himself upbrages on every trifle. When he returns from hunting, I will not speak with him. Say I am sick. If you come slack of former services, you shall do well. The fault of it I'll answer.
Bring the bottle! Bring the bottle! Company! Repeat after me! The King of France is a drugged up hog!
The King of France is a drugged up hog!
We'll rip his feet and feed them to the dogs!
We'll rip his feet and feed them to the dogs!
The King of France is no match for Lear!
The King of France is no match for Lear!
They should have given us all their beer! The King of France is a dandy fop!
The King of France is a dandy fop!
And about his wife, no one gives a fuck!
About his wife, no one gives a fuck!
Cheers!
Go you call hither, my fool. Go you speak with my daughter. I will tell her. You, sir. Come you hither, sir. Come you hither. Who am I, sir?
My lady's father.
My lady's father. My lord's name. You horse and dog, you slave, you cur.
Oh, I am none of these, my lord. I beseech your pardon.
Do you bandalooks with me, you rascal? Hmm?
Oh, I will not be struck, my lord.
Not if neither, you base football player.
I thank thee, fellow. Thou servest me and I love thee.
Come, sir, arise, away. I'll teach you differences. Away, away. If you will measure your love's length again, tarry. But away, go to. Have your wisdom. So.
Now, my friend the knave, I thank thee. There's earnest of thy service.
Let me hire him too. Here's my coxcomb.
How now, my pretty knave? How dost thou?
Sirrah, thou were best take my coxcomb.
Why, my boy?
Why, for taking one side, that's out of favour. Nay, and thou canst not smile as the wind sits. Thou shalt catch cold shortly. Now, take my coxcomb. Why, this fellow has banished 2 on's daughters, and did a third a blessing against his will. If thou follows him, thou must needs wear my coxcomb. Oh, no, nuncle. With that I have 2 coxcombs and 2 daughters.
Why, my boy?
Why, if I gave away all my living, I'd keep my coxcombs myself. There's mine. Beg another of thy daughters.
Take heed, sirrah, the whip.
Truth, a dog, Master Kennel. It must be whipped out when the lady brought me. Stand by the fire and stink.
Pestilent gall to me.
I'll teach thee a speech, nuncle.
Do.
Mark it, nuncle. Have more than thou showest. Speak less than thou knowest. Learn less than thou owest. Ride more than thou goest. Learn more than thou throwest. Save less than thou throwest. Leave thy drink and thy whore, and keep in a door, and thou shalt have more than 2/10 to a score.
This is nothing, fool.
It is like the breath of an unfeed lawyer. You gave me nothing for it. Can you make no use of nothing, uncle?
Why, no, boy. Nothing can be made out of nothing.
Prithee, tell him so much the rent of his land comes to. He will not believe a fool.
Bitter fool.
Just know the difference, my boy, between a bitter fool and a sweet one.
No, lad, teach me.
The Lord that counsel thee to give away thy land. Come, place him near by me. Do thou for him stand. A sweet and bitter fool will presently appear. The one in motley here, the other found out there.
Dost thou call me fool, boy?
All thy titles thou hast given away since thou was born with.
It is not altogether fool, my lord.
Nay, faith, lords and wise men would not let me have all the food to myself. If I had a monopoly, they would have part on it. The ladies too, they will not let me have all the food to myself. They go snatching. Uncle, give me an egg, and I'll give thee 2 crowns.
What 2 crowns shall they be?
Why, after I had cut the egg in the middle and eat up the meat, the 2 crowns of the egg. When thou clothest thy crown in the middle and gavest away both parts, thou borest thine ass on thy back over the dirt. Thou hast little wit on that bald crown when thou gavest the golden one away. And if I speak like myself in this, let him be whipped who first finds it so. Oh. Ta 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 ta. Fools had ne'er less grace in a year, for wise men are grown foppish. They know not how their wits to wear, their manners are so apish.
When were you once so full of song, Sarah?
I have used it, uncle, ere since thou madest thy daughters thy mothers. For after thou hast givest them the rod and puts down thine own breeches, and they for sudden joy did sing, and I for sorrow sung, that such a king would play bo peep and go with fools among. Oh, prithee, uncle, keep a schoolmaster to teach thy fool to lie. I would fain learn to lie.
And you lie, Sarah. We'll have you whipped.
I marvel at what kin thou and thy daughters are. They'd have me whipped for speaking true, they'd have me whipped for lying, and sometimes I'm whipped for holding my peace. I had rather be any kind of thing but a fool. Yet I will not be thee, uncle. Thou hast pared thy wit on both sides and left nothing in the middle. Here comes one of the parents.
Oh, how now, daughter? What makes it flaunted on? Methinks you are too much of late to frown.
Thou was a pretty fellow when thou had little need to worry about her frowning. Now thou art an O without a figure. I'm better than thou art now. I'm a fool. Thou art nothing. Yes, forsooth, madam, I shall hold my tongue, as your face bids me so, though say nothing. Mum, he that keeps nor crust nor crumb, weary of all, shall want some. Now there's a shell piece cod.
Not only, sir, this your all-licensed fool, but other of your insolent retinue do hourly carp and quarrel, breaking forth in rank and not to be endured riots. Sir, I had thought by making this well known unto you to have found a safe redress, but now grow fearful by what yourself too late have spoke and done, that you protect this course and put it on by your allowance, which if you should, the fault would not scape censure, nor the redresses sleep which in the tender of a wholesome weal might in their working do you that offense, which else were shame that then necessity will call discreet proceeding.
For you know, uncle, that the hedge sparrow fed the cuckoo too long, that its had its head bit off by its young. So out went the candle, and we were left darkly.
Are you a daughter?
I wish you would make use of your good wisdom, whereof I know you are fraught, and put away these dispositions which of late transport you from what you rightly are.
May not be asked, no, when the cart draws the horse. I love thee.
Does any here know me? This is not Lear. Does Lear walk thus, speak thus? Where are his eyes? Either his notion weakens, or his discerning's a lethargy. Waking, does not so. Who is it that can tell me who I am?
Lear's shadow.
That's correct. For by the marks of sovereignty, knowledge, and reason, I should be forced persuaded I had daughters.
Which they would make an obedient father.
Your name, fair gentlewoman?
This admiration, sir, is much to the savor of other your new pranks. I do beseech you to understand my purposes aright, as you are old and reverend, should be wise. Here do you keep 100 knights and squires, men so disordered, so debauched, so bold, that this our court infected with their manners shows like a riotous inn. Epicurism and lust makes it more like a tavern, or a brothel than a graced palace. The shame itself doth speak for instant remedy. Be then desired by her that else will take the things she begs, a little to disquantity your train, and the remainder that shall still depend to be such men as may besort your age, which know themselves and you.
Darkness and devils! Saddle my horses! Come and train together! Degenerate bastard! I would have troubled thee. Yet have I left a daughter.
You strike my people, and your disordered rabble make servants of their betters!
Woe, thou too late repents? Oh, sir, are you come? Is it your will? Speak, sir. Prepare my horses. Ingratitude, thou marble-hearted fiend, more hideous when thou showest thee in a child than a sea monster.
Pray, sir, be patient.
Detested kite, thou liest. My train are men of choice and rarest parts, that all particulars of duty know, and in the most exact regard support the worships of thy name. Oh, small thought, how ugly didst thou in Cordelia show, which like an engine wrenched my frame of nature from the fixed place, drew from my heart all love, and added to the gall. Oh, Lear, 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 beat at this gate and let thy folly in, and let thy judgment out. Go! Go, my people! Go!
My lord, I am guiltless as I am ignorant as to what hath moved you.
It may be so, my lord. Hear nature, hear. Dear goddess, hear me. Suspend thy purpose if thou didst intend to make this creature fruitful. Into her womb convey sterility, dry up in her the organs of increase, and from her derogate body never spring a babe to honor her. If she esteem great her child of spleen, that it may live and be a thought disnature torment to her. Let it stamp wrinkles in the brow of youth, with candid tears spread channels in her cheeks, turn all her mother's pains and benefits to laughter and contempt, that she may feel how sharp under the serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. Away! Away!
No gods that we adore, whereof comes this?
Afflict yourself to know more of it, but let his disposition have that scope as dotage gives it.
What? 50 of my followers at a clap within a fortnight?
What's the matter, sir?
I'll tell thee. Life and death. I am ashamed that thou hast power to shake my manhood thus, that these odd tears which break from me perforce should make thee worth them. Blasts and fogs upon thee. The intended woundings of a father's curse bears every sense about thee. Old fond eyes, beweave this course again. I'll pluck you out and cast you with the waters that you lose to temper clay. Is it come to this? Huh? Ha! Let it be so. I have another daughter, who I am sure is kind and comfortable. When she shall hear this of thee, with her nails she'll flay thy wolvish visage. Thou shalt find that I'll resume the shape which thou dost think I have cast her forever.
Do you mark that?
I cannot be so partial, Gunred. To the great love I bear you.
Pray you content. What, Oswald, ho! You, sir, more knave than fool. After your master.
Nuncle Lear, tarry, take thy fool with thee. A fox when one has caught her, and such a daughter should sure to the slaughter. If my cap would buy a halter. So the fool follows after.
This man had had good counsel. 100 knights. 'Tis politic and safe to let him keep at a point 100 knights. Yes, that on every dream, each buzz, each fancy, each complaint, dislike, he may enguard us doted with these powers and hold our lives at mercy. Oswald, I say!
Well, you may fear too far.
Safer than trust, too far. Let me still take away the harms I fear, not fear still to be taken. I know his heart. What he hath uttered I have writ my sister. If she sustain him and his 100 knights when I have showed the unfitness. How now, Oswald? What, have you writ that letter to my sister?
Aye, madam.
Take you some company and away to horse. Inform her full of my particular fear, and thereto add such reasons of your own as may compact it more. Get you gone, and hasten your return. No, my lord. This milky gentleness and course of yours, though I condemn not, yet under pardon you are much more a task for want of wisdom than praised for harmful mildness.
How far your eyes pierce cannot tell. Striving to better, oft we must well.
Nay, then.
Go you before to Gloucester with his letters. Acquaint my daughter no further with anything you know that comes from her demand out of the what. If your diligence be not speedy, I shall be there for you.
I will not sleep, my lord, till I have delivered your letter.
If a man's brains were in his heels, were it not in danger of kibes?
Aye, boy.
Then, prithee, be merry. Thy wit shall not go slipshod. Shall see thy other daughter will use thee kindly. For if she's as like this as the crab's like an apple, yet I can tell what I can tell.
What canst tell, boy?
She'll taste as like this as a crab does to a crab. Thou canst tell the reason why a man's nose stands in the middle of one's face.
No.
But to keep one's eyes on other side's nose, that what a man can't smell out, he may spy into.
I did her wrong.
Can't tell how an oyster makes his shell.
No.
Nor I neither, but I can tell why a snail has a house.
Why?
To put his head in, not give it away to his daughters, and leave his horns without a case.
I will forget my nature. So kind a father. Be my horses ready?
Thy asses are gone about them. The reason why the 7 stars number no more than 7 is a pretty reason.
Because they're not 8.
Yes, indeed. Thou wouldst make a good fool.
Make a good performance. What so ingratitude!
If thou wert my fool, I'd have thee beaten for being old before thy time.
Why is that?
Thou shouldst not have been old before thou hast been wise.
Oh, let me not be mad. Not mad, sweet heavens. Keep me in temper. I would not be mad.
I heard myself proclaimed, and by the happy hollow of a tree escaped the hunt. No port is free. No place that guard with most unusual vigilance does not attend my king. As I may escape, I will preserve myself. And then be thought to take the basest and poorest shape that ever penury in contempt of man brought near to beast. Its face I'll grime with filth. Blanket my loins. Elf all my hairs in knots. And with presented nakedness, outface the winds and persecutions of the sky. This country gives me proof and precedent of bedlam beggars who, with roaring voices, strike in their numbed and mortified arms. Pins, wooden pricks, nails, bricks of rosemary. With this horrible object from low farms, poor pelting villages, sheepcotes and mills, sometime with lunatic bands, sometime with prayers, do enforce their charity. Poor dearly God, poor Tom. That's something yet. Edgar, I nothing am.
'Tis strange that they depart from home and not send back by messenger.
Hail to thee, noble master.
Huh? Makest thou this shame thy pastime?
No, my lord.
He wears cruel garters. Horses are tied by the heads, dogs and bears by the necks, monkeys by the loins, and men by the legs. Now, when a man's over lusty at the legs, then he wears wooden nether stocks.
What's he that hath so much thy place mistook to set thee here?
Is both he and she your son and daughter?
No.
Yes.
No, I say.
I say yea.
By Jupiter, I swear no.
By Juno, I swear I.
Does not do it. They could not, would not do it. 'Tis worse than murder to do upon respect such violent outrage. Resolve me with all modest haste which way thou mightest deserve or they impose this usage coming from us.
My lord, when at their home I did commend your highness letters to them. Ere I was risen from the place that showed my duty kneeling, came there a reeking post. Stood in his haste, half breathless, panting forth from Goneril his mistress' salutations, delivered letters, spite of intermission, which presently they read, on whose contents they summoned up their miney, straight took horse, commanded me to follow and attend. The leisure of their answer gave me cold looks, and meeting here the other messenger, whose welcome I perceived had poisoned mine, being the very fellow which of late displayed so saucily against your highness. having more man than wit about me drew, to grace the house with loud and coward cries. Your son and daughter found this trespass worth the shame which here it suffers.
Winter's not gone yet, the wild geese fly that way. Oh, fathers that wear rags do make their children blind. Fathers that bear bags shall see their children kind. Fortune that aren't poor ne'er turns the key to the poor. But for all this, thou shalt have as many dolours for thy daughters as thou canst tell in a year.
Oh, how this modest wells up in my heart! Hysterica passio, the elements below, rising! Where is this daughter?
With the earl, sir, here within.
Follow me not. Stay here.
Made you no other offence but what you speak of?
None. How chance the king comes in so small a number?
And you have been set in the stocks for that question. Well, thou wouldst well deserve it.
Why, fool?
We'll set thee to school, to an ant, to teach thee there's no labouring in the winter. All that follow their noses are led by their eyes, the blind men, and there's not one nose among 20 but can smell him that's stinking. Let go thy hold when a great wheel runs down the hill, lest it break thy neck and follow it. But the great one that goes upward, have them draw thee after. And if a wise man gives thee better counsel, give him mine again. Have none but knaves follow it, for a fool gives it. The serf who serves and seeks for gain and follows but for form will pack when it begins to rain and leave thee in the storm. But I will tarry, the fool will stay and let the wise man fly. The knave turns fool that runs away. The fool, no knave, or die.
Why learned you this, fool?
Not in the stocks, fool.
Did I to speak with me? They are sick, they are weary, they have travelled in the night. Move fetches, the images of revolt and fire. Fetch me a better answer.
My dear lord, you know the fiery quality of the Duke, how unremovable and fixed it is in his own course.
Vengeance, plague, death, confusion. Fiery? What quality? Gloucester, Gloucester, I'd speak with the Duke of Cornwall and his wife.
Well, my good lord, I have informed them, sir.
Inform them? Dost thou understand me, man?
Aye, my good lord.
The king would speak with Cornwall. The dear father would with his daughter speak, command, stand service. Are they informed of this? My breath and blood. Fiery. The fiery Duke. Tell the hundred. Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. Maybe he's not well. Infirmity doth still neglect her office, but her health is bound. We are not ourselves when nature, being oppressed, commands the mind to suffer with the body. I'll forbear. And I'm fallen out with my more headier will to take the indisposed and sickly pit for the sound man. Death of my state! Wherefore should he sit here? This act persuades me that this promotion of the Duke and her is practice only. Give me my servant for. Go tell the Duke and his wife I'd speak with them. Now, presently, I bid them come forth and speak with me and hear me, or at the chamber door I'll beat the drum till it cry sleep to death.
I would have all well betwixt you.
Oh, my heart, my rising heart, but down.
Cry to it, uncle. Cry to it, uncle. The cock needed to the eels, so she put them to face alive. She napped them all the cock and pipe down. Wanton. Twas her brother that in pure kindness to his horse buttered his hay.
Good morrow to you both.
I am glad to see your highness.
Regan, I think you are. I know what reason I have to think so. If thou shouldst not be glad, I will divorce me from thy mother's tomb, sepulchring in adulterers. Oh, are you free? Some other time for that. Beloved Regan, thy sister's not. Regan, she hath tied sharp-tooth and kindness like a vulture here. I can scarce speak to thee. Thou wilt not believe with how depraved a quality, O Regan.
I pray you, sir, take patience. I have hope you less know how to value her desert than she to scant her duty.
Say, how's that?
I cannot think my sister in the least would fail her obligation, if, sir, perchance she have restrained the riots of your followers, 'tis on such ground and to such wholesome end as clears her from all blame.
Oh, my curses on her!
Oh, sir, you are old. Nature in you stands on the very verge of his confine. You should be ruled and led by some discretion that discerns your state better than you yourself. Therefore I pray you that our sister you do make return. Say ye have wronged her.
Ask her forgiveness? Do you but mark how this becomes the house? Dear daughter, I confess that I am old. Age is unnecessary. On my knees I beg that you'll vouchsafe me raiment, bed, and food.
Good sir, no more these are unsightly tricks. Return you to my sister.
Never, Regan! She hath abated me of half my train, looked black upon me, struck me with a tongue most serpent-like upon the very heart. All the stored vengeances of heaven fall in her ungrateful top. Strike her young bones, you taking airs with lameness.
Fie, sir, fie!
You nimble lightnings, dart your blinding flames into her scornful eyes. Infect her beauty, you fence-hung fogs, drawn by the powerful sun to fall and blister.
Oh, the blessed gods! So will you wish on me when the rash mood is on.
No, no, Regan, no. Thou shalt never have my cares. Thy tender-hefted nature shall not give thee o'er to harshness. Her eyes are fears, but thine to comfort and not burn. 'Tis not in thee to grudge my pleasures, to cut off my train, to bandy hasty words, to scant my sizes, and, in conclusion, to post a bolt against my coming in. Thou better knowest the offices of nature, bond of childhood, effects of courtesy, dues of gratitude. Thy half of the kingdom hast thou not forgotten and I thee endowed.
Good sir, to the purpose!
Who put my man in the stocks?
I know it, my sisters. This approves her letter that she would soon be here. Is your lady come?
Ah, this is a slave whose easy borrowed pride dwells in the fickle grace of her he follows. Upon it from my sight!
What means your grace?
Who stalked my servant? Regan, I have good hope thou didst not know in it. Who comes here? Oh, heavens! If you do love old men, if your sweet sway allow obedience, if you yourselves are old, make it your cause. Send down and take my part. Art not ashamed to look upon this beard? Regan, will you take her by the hand?
Why not by the hand, sir? How have I offended? All's not offence that indiscretion finds and dotage terms so.
Besides, you are too tough for you yet old. Okay, my man in the stocks!
I set him there, sir, but his own disorders deserved much less advancement.
You? Did you?
I pray you, father, being weak seems so. If till the expiration of your month you will return and sojourn with my sister, dismissing half your train, come then to me. I am now from home, and out of that provision it shall be needful for your entertainment.
Return to her? And 50 men dismissed? No! Rather I abjure all roofs and choose to wage against the enmity of the air, to be a comrade with a wolf and owl, necessity shall pinch. Return with her? Why, the hot-blooded fancy dowerless took her youngest born. I should be well brought to knee his throne, and squire like pension beg to keep base life afoot. Return with her? Persuade me, rather, to be slave and sumpter to this detested broom.
At your choice, sir.
I prithee, daughter, do not make me mad. I will not trouble thee, my child. Farewell. We'll no more meet, no more see one another. But yet thou art my flesh, my blood, my daughter. Or rather, a disease that's in my flesh, which I must needs call mine. Thou art a boil, a plague sore, a carbuncle in my corrupted blood. But I'll not try thee. Let shame come when it will. I do not call it. I do not bid the thunder bearer should not tell tales of thee to high judging Jove. Man, when thou canst, be better at thy leisure. I can be patient. I can stay with Regan, I and my 100 knights.
Not altogether so. I looked not for you yet, nor am provided for your fit welcome. Give ear, sir, to my sister, for those that mingle reason with your passion must think you old and so. But she knows what she does.
This well spoken.
I dare avouch it, sir. What, 50 followers? Is it not well? What should you need of more, yea, or so many, set that both charge and danger speak against so great a number? How in one house should many people under 2 commands hold amity? 'Tis hard, almost impossible.
Why might not you, my lord, receive attendance from those that she calls servants, or from mine?
Why not, my lord? If then they chance to slack you, we could control them. If you will come to me, for now I spy a danger, I entreat you to bring but 25. To no more will I give place or notice.
Give you all.
And in good time you gave it!
Made you my guardians, my depositaries, but kept a reservation to be followed with such a number. What? Must I come to you with 25? Regan said you so?
And speak it again, my lord, no more with me.
Those wicked creatures yet do look well favored with others and more wicked, not being the worst stands in some rank of praise. I'll go with thee. Thy 50 yet doth double 25. Thou art twice her love.
Hear me, my lord. What need you 25, 10 or 5, to follow in a house where twice so many have a command to tend you?
What need one?
A reason, not a need. Our basest beggars are in the poorest things superfluous. Allow not nature more than nature needs. Man's life is cheap as beast. Thou art a lady. If only to go warm with gorgeous, why nature needs not what thou gorgeous wearest, which scarcely keeps thee warm, but for truth. You heavens! 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 Give me the patience! Patience I need! You see me here, a poor old man, as full of grievous age, with wretched in both, if it be you that stirs his daughters' hearts against their father. Fool me not so much to bear it tamely. Touch me with noble anger, and let not women's weapons water drops stain my man's cheeks. No, you unnatural hacks! I will have such revenges on you both that all the world shall. I will do such things what they are, yet I know not, yet they shall be the terrors of the earth. You think I'll weep? No, I will not weep. I have full cause of weeping, but this heart shall break into 1,000 flaws, or then I'll weep. Fool! I shall go mad.
Yet better thus, and known to be content and still content and flattered. To be worst, the lowest and most dejected thing of fortune. Stand still in esperance, lives not in fear. The most lamentable change is from the best. Worst returns to laughter. Welcome then, thou unsubstantial air that I embrace. Wretch that thou hast blown into the worst owes nothing to thy blasts. Yet, who comes here? Father, what he read? Whoa, whoa. That my strange mutations make us hate thee. Life would not yield to age. Sir! Hello. Oh, Tom's a cold. Cannot talk it further.
Hello.
Yet I must. Bless thy sweet eyes, how they gleam.
Knowest thou the way to Dover?
About stile and gate, a horseway and footpath. Poor Tom has been scared out of his good wits. Bless thee, good man's son, from the foul fiend. 5 fiends have been in poor Tom at once. Of lust, as Obidicut, Obididence, prince of dumbness, Bahu of stealing, Modo of murder, Flibbertigibbet of mopping and mowing, who since possesses chambermaids and waiting women. So bless thee, master.
Here, take this purse. Thou whom the heavens plagues, have humbled to whole strokes. I am wretched. Makes thee the happier. Whence do you so still? Let the superfluous and lust-dieted man that slays your ordinance, that will not see, because he does not feel. Feel your power quickly, so distribution should undo excess, and each man have enough. Dost thou know Dover?
Aye, master.
There is a cliff, whose high and bending head looks fearfully in the confined deep. Bring me to the very brim of it, and I'll repair thy misery. That dost bear with something rich about me. And from that place, I shall no needing need.
Give me thy arm, poor Tom shall lead thee.
Then shall you go no further. It is his cowish terror that does not undertake. He'll not feel wrongs which tie him to an answer. Our wishes on the way may prove effects. Back, Edmund, to my brother. Hasten his musters and conduct his powers. I must change names at home and give the distaff into my husband's hands. This trusty servant shall pass between us. Ere long you are like to hear, if you dare venture in your own behalf, a mistress's command. Wear this. Spare speech. Decline your head. This kiss, if it durst speak, would stretch thy spirits up into the air. Conceive, and fare thee well.
Yours in the ranks of death.
My most dear Gloucester, oh, the difference of man and man!
Alack, 'tis he. For he was met even now as mad as the vexed sea, singing aloud, crowned with rank fumita and furrow weeds, with hardocks, hemlocks, nettles, cuckoo flowers, darnel, and all the idle weeds that grow in our sustaining corn. A century sent forth, search every acre in the high-grown field, and bring him to our eye. What can man's wisdom in the restoring of his bereaved sense? He that helps me takes all my outward worth.
There is means, madame. Our foster nurse of repose is repose. The which he lacks, that a provoke in him will close the eye of anguish.
All blessed secrets, all you unpublished virtues of the earth, spring with my tears. Be agent and mediate in the good man's distress. Seek for him, lest his ungoverned rage dissolve the life that wants the means to lead it. How does the king?
Madam, sleep still.
Oh, you kind gods, cure this great breach in his abused nature. The unturned and jarring senses, oh, wind up of this child-changed father.
So please, your majesty, that we may wake the king. He has supped long.
Be governed by your knowledge and proceed at the sway of your own will. Is he arrayed?
Aye, madam, in the heaviness of sleep, we bestow garments on him. Oh, be by, good madam. When we do awake him, I doubt not of his temperance.
Very well.
Please you, draw near, louder than music there.
Oh, my dear father. Restoration, hang thy medicine on my lips, and let this kiss restore those violent harms that my two sisters have in their reverence made.
Kind and dear princess.
Had you not been their father, these white flakes to challenge pity of them? Was this a face to be opposed against a deep dread bolted thunder, in the most terrible and nimble stroke of quick cross lightning? To watch poor Perdue with this thin helm? Mine enemy's dog, though he had bit me, should have stood that night against my fire. And wast thou fain, poor father, to hovel thee with swine and rogues, forlorn and short and musty straw? Alack! 'Tis wonder that thy wits and life at once had not concluded all. He wakes. Speak to him.
Madam, do you this fittest?
How does my royal lord? How fares his majesty?
You do me wrong to bring me out of the grave. Thou art a soul in bliss, but I am bound upon the wheel of fire, that mine own tears do scald like molten lead.
Sir? Do you know me?
You are a spirit, I know. Where did you die?
still far wide.
Please, Scar's awake. Let him alone a while.
Where have I been? Where am I? Fair daylight. I am mightily abused. I should e'en die with pity to see another thus. I know not what to say. I will not swear. These are my hands. Let's see. I feel a pinprick. Would I were assured of my condition.
Oh, look upon me, sir, and hold your hand in benediction o'er me. No, sir, you must not kneel.
Pray, do not mock. I am a very foolish, fond old man. Fourscore and upward, not an hour more, no less. To deal plainly, I fear I am not in my perfect mind. Methinks I should know you, and know this man. Yet I am doubtful, for I am mainly ignorant. Place this is, and all the skill I have remembers not this garment. I know not where I did lodge last night. Do not laugh at me. For as I am a man, I think this lady to be my child, Cordelia.
And so I am. I am.
Be your tears wet? Little, pray weep not, weep not. If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I know you do not love me. Your sisters have, as I do remember, done me wrong. You have some cause. I have not.
No cause. Cause.
Am I in France?
In your own kingdom, sir.
Do not abuse me.
Be comforted, good madam. The great rage you see is guilt in him, and yet it is danger. To make him over the time he has lost, seek him to win. Trouble him no more, till further settling.
Will it please your majesty walk?
You must bear with me. You now forget and forgive. I am old and foolish.
Know the Duke if his last purpose hold, or whether since he is advised by aught to change the course, he's full of alteration and self-reproving, bring his constant pleasure.
Our sister's man is certainly miscarried.
'Tis to be doubted, madam.
Now, sweet lord, you know the goodness I intend upon you. Tell me but truly, but then speak the truth. Do you not love my sister?
In honored love.
But have you never found my brother's way to the forfended place?
This thought abuses you.
I am doubtful that you have been conjunct and bosomed with her as far as we call hers.
No, by mine honor, madam.
I never shall endure her. Dear my lord, be not familiar with her.
Fear me not. She and the Duke, her husband.
I had rather lose the battle than that sister loosen him and me.
I shall attend you presently at your tent.
Sister, you'll go with us?
No.
'Tis most convenient. Pray go with us.
Uh-huh. I know the riddle. I will go.
How you are men of stones! Had I your tongues and your eyes, I'd use them so that heaven's foot should crack. She's gone forever. I know when one is dead, and I know when one lives. She's dead as I. Lend me a looking glass. If that her breath will miss the stain, why then she lives. I could have saved her. No, she's gone forever. Cordelia, who are you? Mine eyes are not of the best. I'll tell you straight. This is a dull sight. My poor fool is hanged. No, no life, no life. Why should a dog, a horse, a rat have life, and thou no breath at all? Thou wilt come no more. Never, 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 never. Pray you, undo this button, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My lord! My lord!
Break, heart, I prithee, break!
Look up, my lord!
Fix not his ghost. Oh, let him pass. He hates him that would upon the rack of this tough world stretch him out longer.
He is gone indeed.
Wonder is he hath endured so long, but usurped his life.
The weight of this sad time we must obey. Speak what we feel, not what we ought to say. The oldest hath borne the most. We that are young shall never see so much, nor live as long.
Thank you, everybody. Bravo, cast. Thank you. Bravo. Job well done.
Congrats!
Congrats,
Thank you for watching,
Yeah.
everyone here.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.
Thank you for watching. You can see
Nico's blood in this run is extreme. I love it.
Thank you for being in the audience tonight. It was a really good ending to this 2-month learning experience that we've get to tell this story to an audience. Hello to friends from the Philippines and friends from all over. I think Philadelphia and London and everywhere. We're zooming to you from Barangay Carmona, Makati City, Philippines.
Thank you so much. Our next question is, what would you say are some similarities and differences between you and your characters?
I'm alive.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no, you
Oh, no.
didn't.
Maybe the sisters would wanna
Mm-mm.
take a whack at it.
Personally, I had.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Personally, I going into it, I had a difficult time getting behind Cordelia just because I couldn't for the life of me understand why she would go back, like after experiencing what she had. And so yeah, it was quite different. And I think what was unique about this rehearsal process was uh it it's such a big massive piece of steak, and then kind of all you have to do is show up to the rehearsal room and hope you get to chew a little bit more every single day. And some days you chew a bit less and some days you chew a bit more, and then kind of that was the learning curve for me. But yeah, I did, going into it, had a difficult time understanding Cordelia and where she was coming from and all that, and it took a lot of working around to understand her.
Yeah, jumping off of Agatha's point, coming into the process and getting the role of Regan, I also wasn't sure what I was doing because I don't relate to her character at all, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to play her. But I do sense some similarities. Like, I do know how to charm people. I do know how to be sweet. I'd like to think that I don't manipulate people. If I do, let me know. But I do echoing Agatha's point. I do love that throughout the whole process we were given the chance to just like dig deeper and deeper into our characters, and in my case it was finding the rage in Regan, and um also figuring out like also finding out the imaginary circumstances for how affected she is by by Lear's behavior, by his actions. So there, I will not miss Regan, but it has been such a beautiful learning experience for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I had the same trajectory as my sisters. This character was a bit intimidating for me because she's the eldest, she's the firstborn. In real life, I'm the lastborn, and I'm quite young compared to most people. I'm young, and so it was challenging to play someone who's supposed to be older and like an authority figure. But I discovered that there were pieces of Goneril that I can relate to, especially as we got more into like the nitty gritty of like the family dynamics and their motivations, their intentions. I discovered that Goneril had this stubbornness and this sense of urgency that comes from a place of having a lot of foresight, or like worriedness or worry for the future, or what are the consequences of actions. That's something that I related to, and that's what made it easier for me to sort of understand my lines and carry them out with intention. Yeah.
As for me, I'm not really my character. I'm very zen. I'm very chill. So it was a mountain to climb, to really get to all the peaks, all the intentions of the character. Um, Probably I was thinking about my answer while the others were speaking. I probably the thing that brought me that door to to places wherein I can experiment and play. It's probably that that part where Lear was losing control. He was so much in control of everything, of everybody, until until a particular scene, until that moment where he gives off his lands, his power. So probably that part I tried to like connect with the character, wherein, if I put myself in that situation of where I lose control over, everything that I know and everything that defines me. So that somehow triggers, all those rage, all those probably nalabas ko din, no? Kasi nga, I try to control it. Ang weird, no? Kasi I try to control emotions. I try to control negative emotions. So somehow this became this became that space where I can freely express and show that rage and not, get people mad, not get people mad at me. So it was quite a cathartic experience for me, trying to connect with the character.
Just to add really quickly, it was especially new for me to play someone who kind of doesn't conceal what she's feeling, and that was kind of the most difficult thing for me. But then Miss Anna guided us through kind of substitution and doing the character work, and that was really helpful. But yeah, that was especially challenging to me. But then yeah, it's interesting because you try to justify things your character does, and at home, and then but you can't really decide until you go to rehearsals, and then suddenly, like magic, like all of these very human connections you have to your characters just reveal themselves almost all at once. So yeah.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about King Lear is that, I mean, every Shakespearean show is very human, but I think King Lear, especially at its core, is one of the most human shows that there is by Shakespeare. And I mean, in regards to character, I mean, if you really just look at Edmund, yeah, okay, he's the conniving, evil bastard, right? But then in the actual script, what led him to do this? I mean, he's just a normal guy who was handed a bad hand and was treated like crap most of his life. So it's like Edmund's one thing at the end of the day is that he just wants to be recognized as his own man. And I mean, who can't relate to that? Who doesn't want their own achievements or to do something to stand out, to be proud of? That's all Edmund wanted at the end of the day. And I mean, it's like all the characters in King Lear are really just victims of circumstance, really. And it's such a beautiful story. For Edmund, really, characterizing Edmund wasn't so much at looking at past performances or looking out and looking for inspiration for, who can I or what can I use to try and become this character. Rather, for me, it was more a process of just looking in, because me as an individual, I want to go out and achieve things. I want to do things. I want to get things done. And sometimes it feels like life hands me a bad hand or whatever, and you just want to stand, and you just have to stand there and smile and be like, of course, of course. But then the minute they go away and you go, oh, credulous and brother noble, and make fun of people behind their back. I mean, who hasn't been in that situation? It's such a raw, real human character. So it was more a process of looking inwards for me.
I'm sure a lot of you in the cast or even in the audience had their turn being the class clown. The one who could talk about the teacher when the back is turned, the one who could copy or mimic how she walks, he walks. It's power. You can say your truth, but you can cushion it with entertainment. I had my turn as the class clown in university. I had in our family. In my immediate family, I was the taga cheer up of the elders, choosing the right words, putting them in a good mood. When there is tension, you know how to lighten things up. It can be tiring many times. Every wedding, every Christmas party, every this and that for our family. And I also had my stint in university of being in a fraternity in the 80s kind of fraternity, blindfolded and whipped and hazed and this and that. And my batch knew I could do monologues. I was cutting the whipping time by making the elders laugh. So I was saving my fellow dirty and blindfolded neophytes from being whipped because they just make me tell jokes. It was an exciting time in Philippine politics at the time. So there was a lot of political jokes that I could use to kill time and not be and not be physically hurt by the masters. So I see that as I thought I was taking a break from stand-up comedy when enough of stand-up comedy. It's too complicated to be a comedian now. It's so difficult to with what comedians are going through right now. Oh, I'll go to drama, and then I play the stand-up comic toy of the king, who has his handy joke or riddle, but it's like a sandwich where the bread is the riddle or the song or the rhyme, but what's inside is the truth he needed to share with his king to save his life. He felt it was his duty to save the king from himself and from his decisions. And he used laughter. So that's what I think is a very, very similar character trait. I will save the king from himself. I will make him laugh. I will entertain him. Then maybe he'll take the bitter, painful truth a little more openly.
I really am the legit son in my family. No, I mean, I feel that Edgar is a very relatable person because, especially all of us who are Lenny supporters, we know what it's like to be a victim of smear campaigning.
And you like eating. Like
Churros, wala ka sa Facebook, ha?
Oops.
Is there anyone who hasn't spoken? Can I hear your perspective so that the audience hears your voice? Have you all shared something at least?
Well, my character, we both start with the letter D. I don't know. And I'm caring, he's caring. Voila, welcome to the world. I guess.
I just read from the chat that how did I do it blindfolded? But yeah, but it's not really that hard. It's just actually see through. But and I also have like I also have like a script at the front, like zoomed in, so it's not that hard. But it was it was a challenge to have it always on and trying to feel my way through my room. So it's a bit of a getting used to.
Okay, so for our last question, this is from Glenn. Were there any choices or movement on the text or line that you felt strongly about? Edmund.
I want to know, Miss Anna. I have a question. I want to know, Miss Anna, if what you would think about that.
Sorry, it was spotty. I didn't hear the whole question. Could you tell me the question again?
It was about the text.
What's your favorite movement or acting choice or line? Yeah.
In the text or in life?
In the show.
Favorite movement, acting text. I love the role of Cordelia, of course, because I love that she, in the first act, she says nothing, and then in the last act she says no cause. I think that's not a coincidence, and it's not it's not random for this writer who's capable of writing a whole lot to write that. And I think it just, for Shakespeare, that spoken word, we're getting into an area where he's not speaking the thought. Shakespeare's spoken thought. So that, for me, that transition where in Romeo and Juliet and all the other plays, what you think you say, what you think. And finally here, the characters has so much subtext. So I think it's a beautiful transition to modern work. And so I love that.
Um, the first thing that I thought about that I really loved. This is ano na, no, parang in retrospect now with all the rehearsals and the two shows we've had. I think that scene with Fool and Lear, wherein I was so vulnerable and I was parang having that distress call of let me not be mad, let me not be mad, keep me in temper. Uh, those those quiet, vulnerable moments that Lear had, where the parts where I really enjoyed doing, really enjoyed experimenting on, more than the ballistic scenes. It's sabi nga ni Miss Anna before, it's what you call this? It's so easy to get loud and big. But when you get to, become small and whisper, mas nagkakaroon ng power nagkakaroon ng strength yung the way you do your performance. So that very crucial scene where Lear that was I think the last part where he showed his yung humanity niya before he really goes haywire. That part where he was, I don't know, calling the universe to help him, keep myself in temper, let me not be mad. That was so powerful for me.
I agree. I agree that the word nothing has a very heavy presence in the show. It is said by the fool, thou art nothing. It was said by the king, nothing comes from nothing. And that is this great, great tragedy of this great, used to be great, great man, that now he really is nothing. Not one army, not 250, not 100, not 50, not one. He has nothing. And it's so for this community that really loves words and what words can do, or what words can do when they are not there. All that's left is one word. It's such a powerful discovery, and it was nice that it was shared, and that I take it with me.
Yeah, I saw a few questions actually in the box about the treachery that occurred towards the end of the show between the sisters, and I want to talk about that to answer like the question at hand. I think the choice in the text mismo for the sisters to betray one another by both having an affair with Edmund and using their own tricks behind closed doors to get more power over the land that they inherited from the king. It's interesting to me because at first it's so easy to understand the sisters' choices and their cruelty because it's easy to see them as victims because of the way that Lear treated them. But then as the show goes on, you see them sort of morph to be the kind of tyrants or power hungry leaders that their father was. So yeah, I think that was really interesting because we saw how the points would sort of be parallel, like the trajectories, the Lear's trajectory and the sister's trajectory are sort of parallel in that way. So yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to echo that. I love about this play is that the women are very, it's not questioned at all, the women are capable of ruling. I mean, certainly Cordelia comes back by herself without the king of France and with an army, and Goneril and Regan certainly are leaders in their own rights, and that's never questioned, and a lot of the times the women are thinking more clearly than a lot of the men. So I did feel very strongly about that. And kind of the central thing to me was Cordelia, not just Cordelia, but I think everyone's desire for safety and home. And then kind of the trouble begins when that is challenged and what they consider to be safety is challenged, and then they start being mean to each other. So it's a it's a story of suffering people and how that can hurt people within your vicinity.
I'm gonna make this very short, but like my favorite movement, acting choice, Miss Anne always instilled in us is like the eyes, especially the sister scenes. It's very helpful. Like pag nainis siya kay Lear or pag naawa siya or like pag kontrabida or pag nagsiseduce, like it's all very useful. Aggie, I see that. Yeah, so It's a very that's what I like about Zoom shows compared to like theater shows. You can use the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, just to build off of that, like I'll make my answer also very, very short. I also appreciated the eye work that we've been doing here. Because aside from what Ches pointed out, it really forces you to listen to your scene partner a lot more. The tendency is like we observe what they're doing on the screen, but when you listen and really hone in on what they're saying, I feel like that gives you a lot more to react to. And I think that that's a challenge and a blessing that all of us got with this show, with a story that's so focused on relationships um, and the tactics that people use to get what they want. So there, I think that that's one really great thing that I appreciated about this process. So
I think we should call it a night. Was that the last question? Audience, thank you so much for being here. And you really complete our circle. So thank you. And those were great questions. And cast, what a blessing. Thank you. It's kind of hard to say goodbye, isn't it? It's hard for me. I'm going to miss you. We had a great, great, great time. Thank you. Thank you. And goodbye, Lear. We'll visit you maybe in another year. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
thanks
Thank you, everyone.
for watching. Good night.
Good night.